We mentioned Mrs. Shiny, a person who has edited this glimpse, and her effort has really a very remarkable one in this. Let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you, ma'am, for making all of us to laugh thunderously. The reward for the work well done is an opportunity to do more. It's time for the commendation ceremony to appreciate the efforts and the work of gems of our PBG. I invite our Vice Chairman, ma'am, Mrs. M. Jayalakshmi, to honor our staff with a memento. Let's put our hands together in welcoming our Vice Chairman, Mrs. M. Jayalakshmi, ma'am, onto the stage. For work well done is an opportunity to do more. It's time for the commendation ceremony to appreciate the efforts and the works of gems of our PBG. First, I call upon our dedicated foundation in charge teacher Mrs. L. Madhubala. I also request our director sir, Mr. Sendil Swami, to join us on the stage in giving away the memento for the staffs. I also request our principal ma'am, Mrs. G. Shanti, to join our dignitaries on the stage to give away the memento for our staffs in appreciation for their efforts and the work to our PBG. First, I call upon Dedication Foundation in charge teacher Mrs. L. Madhubala, whose passion for teaching and a love for the students makes all the difference. You inspire creativity, imagination and confidence. Next, I call upon our kindergarten teacher, Mrs. C. Lata, who not just teaches the ABC and 1, 2, 3s, but instill the values that last a lifetime. Up next, I call upon Mrs. U. Ambika, who works in creating a self-nurturing environment where every child feels valued, supported and encouraged. Kindergarten teachers are the first to show the children the joy of learning. In follow, I call upon our kindergarten teachers, Mrs. V. Babika, Mrs. R. Rabia Fatima, Mrs. P. Jayalakshmi, who not just teaches ABC and 1, 2, 3s for our kids, but install the values of kindness, curiosity and perseverance that last a lifetime. You inspire creativity, imagination and confidence in every child who walks through your door. Followed by, I call upon our staff. From the Department of Physical Education, Mr. Pradeep and Mrs. M. Jagadishwari, who fosters teamwork, discipline and resilience. Through your guidance, students learn that every challenge is an opportunity to grow and improve. I call upon Mrs. M. Jagadishwari, a staff from Department of Physical Education, who fosters teamwork, discipline and resilience among the students. And you teach them that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Up next, I call upon our music teacher, Mrs. Jayashri, who teaches notes and rhythms for which students express their emotions, find beauty in the world and believe in the power of creativity. Next in line, we have our school admin team, who are the unsung heroes making the school environment a better place. I call Mr. Shivakumar, admin team, followed by Mr. K. Rahman, admin team. I request parents to give them a cheers. Up next, I call Mr. R. Muthumurugan, admin team. Ms. P. Kausalya, admin team. Followed by Ms. B. Priyadarshini, admin team. Our Admin staff and team are the unsung heroes making the school environment a better place. Next, I call upon B. Priyadarshini, admin team. Miss A. Harini, admin team. Let's give all our admin team and staffs a big round of applause, thanking them for their efforts in making our school environment a better place. Next online, we have our caretakers, Mrs. C. Sundari, Mrs. A. Kamala, Mrs. T. Gauri, Mrs. I. Valli. Thank you, dear caretakers, for your gentle care and dedication that you show towards our children. Next, I call Mrs. R. Rekha, Mrs. T. Egavalli, Mrs. R. Rekha, Mrs. T. Egavalli, Mrs. M. Kasturi, Mrs. S. Shalini, Mrs. S. Shalini, Mrs. Reena Devi, followed by Mrs. Mariamma. We thank you for your gentle care and dedication. You go above and beyond every day, ensuring that every child of PBG feels valued, comfortable, and safe in our school environment. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.